Hundreds of unaccompanied children claiming to have relatives in Britain or stranded in France, where their asylum cases are not being actively considered, senior human rights lawyers have said. A study by the Human Rights Committee of the Bar, BHRC, released a year after the demolition of the Calais refugee camp, warns that as many as 400 children are trapped in France and are still vulnerable to trafficking, abuse and disease. The allegations that asylum applications are not being properly considered is disputed by the Home Office, which points to 6 alternative legal routes by which children can still enter the UK. These include the Syrian Vulnerable Persons Resettlement Scheme and refugee family reunion programs. More than 900 unaccompanied, asylum-seeking children were allowed into the UK from Europe in 2016, according to the Home Office, which insists that it works closely with EU states on applications. Barristers from the committee were among a small number of legal observers present when shacks and temporary accommodation on the site were dismantled by the French authorities at the end of October last year. Children were subjected to a chaotic and unlawful age verification and registration process, based in many cases on physical appearance alone. The report by Kirsty Brimelow QC and Jelia Sane, who were in the camp, says the methods employed by officials were arbitrary and discriminatory. The committee has learned that family reunion cases under Dublin III EU asylum regulations were poorly handled, such that an estimated 400 unaccompanied minors claiming to have relatives in the UK are now stranded in France. Having had no proper decisions on their cases, children refused asylum at the time were not given an opportunity to challenge age assessments which put them over the age of 18, the barristers maintain, a failure compounded by restrictions imposed by French officials on lawyers giving advice. 2 officials from the organization France Terre D Asile, which conducted assessments on teenage migrants in Calais, resigned in protest and were appalled at what they had witnessed, the report says. They reported that even children who had identity documents were being expelled from the queue if their appearance did not fit, according to the barristers. The delegation heard reports that guidelines, which should have been followed, were severely curtailed or ignored due to lack of time. This resulted in adults being assessed as children and vice versa. Unaccompanied migrant children are living in overcrowded and squalid conditions across the EU, Brimelow and Sane point out.